Let's rock and roll. Good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, depending on where you are. Nice to have you here for another edition of Let's Build Business. As we always do, we'll kick off with our belief, and that is that at Elysium, we believe the future is a gift. The problem is that AI is changing everything, and it's very difficult to adapt, certainly at the speed that the change is coming. So because of that, our purpose is to prove that businesses and individuals can, in fact, reinvent themselves. So we are here to talk all things that. Hopefully you can't hear the whining dogs in the background over the road from my house. If you can, I apologize, but we'll move on. So we've got a couple of really cool things happening today. We are going to get an update from Redknot on what's going on at his end. We've got, I think, have we got the Clippy guys coming along? Yes,
yeah,
excellent.
Jordan is joining us this morning, giving us the updates on Clippy.
Excellent. Looking forward to that. And we will no doubt go down a couple of rabbit holes whilst doing that, as I always like to do. Before that, though, I wanted to very quickly share a brief update on, I'm just going to try and share my screen. We're about to launch our new website, which is very exciting. I'm hoping that it's the one that I just refreshed. So we will be making this live probably later today or tomorrow. And obviously the purpose of this is to get the Elysium brand out there and have people to come and have a look and a sniff around, but also to sign up to a wait list for beta testing. We've got a whole bunch of stuff happening in the background around the Ellie agent in particular to start with, which is all about running the three-pillar framework that we talk about, being the AI audit and discovery process, the build and implementation, and then the optimization and partnership piece. And so I thought I'd just quickly run you through the new website. Here it is with Johnny Ashcroft's beautiful logo in the background. Again, starts with our belief, as everything does, that the future is a gift. We talk a little bit about the challenges that small to medium-sized businesses are facing, and the fact that enterprises have these dedicated AI teams, private infrastructure, and huge budgets, but the reality is SMBs really don't. And the result of that ultimately is, they get fed piecemeal solutions that either are completely incorrect for them or only solve part of the problem, and B, they can never really get a private AI environment for them to be able to have protection around their particular data that I guess is the lifeblood of their particular business. So what's the Elysium solution? This two-layer solution, this two-layer environment where we have both Ellie and Eva, as we've talked about before. Ellie being the AI expertise platform that runs you through every component that you need to both identify, build, and then deploy solutions for your small to medium-sized business, or if you're an agency owner, for your clients. And then Eva, which is this private infrastructure environment where we hope to get it to a point where it's a one-click deployment, and Eva then runs your automations for you. Think of Eva as the orchestration agent that sits there and goes, okay, cool, we've got an email automation system over here, we've got a purchase order automation system over here, and is constantly running and optimizing those environments, or those automations within a private infrastructure environment, protecting your data. A little bit about how it works and why us. Again, down the bottom here, you can sign up to our contact form here, which is joining the beta wait list. But before we get there, let's have a quick look at Ellie. So Ellie, again, this is nothing you haven't seen before, but just with fancier colors and on a website. Your complete AI transformation framework. So this is where we have our AI audit and discovery process, our build and implementation process, and the optimization and partnership. That's what Ellie will be doing for you. Talk a little bit about the number of comprehensive phases, guided steps, and automated tasks that Ellie will do for you. Who is Ellie, what she's all about, how she works, and the fact that Ellie is actually built for both agencies and businesses. Not every SMB out there is going to have the time, the appetite, or possibly even, we hope, to be able to cater to all level of skills, but maybe not even the skills to be able to run LE themselves. And so agencies are definitely someone that we cater to here. A little bit about everything you need and nothing you don't, and this is all about what what LE's delivering that you may not be getting elsewhere, and really identifying all of those little elements along the way that can build an optimized environment for all of your automations. And where does that happen? That happens here in EVA, which is all about power without compromise, in particular in and around the data piece. I think there's a real challenge here, not just for us, but for the entire industry around getting automations that interact with large language models into environments where the data that they're providing into those large language models is kept private and doesn't expose sensitive information and private data to the large language model providers or the foundational model providers. That's our aim here. We are really focused on trying to deliver enterprise-grade AI capabilities whilst keeping your data completely private and secure. There's a lot of work to do in and around this, which is why we will be beta testing LE first, but we've got some great capability in and around us to help us really unpack what's required for EVA and how we put that together. Again, this is all information you've heard me bang on about plenty of times before around the importance of private, secure data when interacting with these large language models. A little bit here about what we are hoping to deliver with EVA versus what the alternatives provide. If you are interested in becoming a beta user or a beta tester rather, we've got this waitlist form. Come on here. We'll get you to fill that out and we'll be in contact as things play out. So I just wanted to give everyone a little bit of a sneak peek as to what's coming there for the Elysium website, which we're very excited about. So if you're keen, please come along and join the waitlist. So
nicely done, Alex.
Thank you. Yes, that was all my handiwork, thanks to Replit and a somewhat fastidious OCD person on the other end of the keyboard, making sure that it does what it says on the tin. Anyway, Ollie, before we jump to Jordan and Ed, actually, no. You know what? Let's just jump right in. Michelle, do you want to maybe give Jordan a bit of an intro? Jordan, good morning and thanks for joining us. Give Jordan a little bit of an intro and tell us what Jordan's building, and then we'll get a bit of a run through, hopefully. And I'm really keen to unpack here, A, what you guys are building with Clippy, but also B, what the applications for small to medium-sized businesses of Clippy can be, and how they can utilize a tool like Clippy for their everyday business needs. So, Michelle, I might get you to intro Jordan, and let's jump in from there.
Of course. Well, Alex just did a great intro there of how important the solution that Clippy will solve is. Even this morning in the Discord chats, we were talking about how do we relay the information in all of the builders meetings and the weekly podcasts so that people external, or perhaps people that don't have the time, can actually catch up with the content that's being missed. And, you know, Clippy was put forward as a solution today. So it's incredibly exciting, something I think we can use ourselves. We're desperate to get our hands on it to be able to present the weekly recording of our meetings. So with great pleasure, we introduced Jordan. And I think it's a really exciting example of how a community member can create something fantastic, can join the builders. I know he's been working with Nick as well. I'm not sure if Nick is here today, but I love seeing someone like, I guess, in a younger demographic, but really showing how if you put the work in and come up with a great idea, really what can be achieved. And it will so easily slot into what we're doing at Elysium, and I think into many business models. So without further ado, Jordan, welcome to the stage, and we can't wait to see what you've been building.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been a whirlwind, kind of, I would say, just figuring out bits and pieces and just diving into this whole world, because I'm very new to this whole thing. So being able to, like, build a product that kind of takes over what I do, from a day-to-day basis, it's been inspiring, and it just kind of shows you like anything's possible, really.
Could you give us, Jordan, a little bit of background on what you do every day? And I know you're significantly younger than me, that's for sure, and a couple of us here on the call. So where you're up to in your journey with regards to getting to this point, what you do for work, and how you kind of arrived at the point of creating Clippy.
Yeah, so pretty much I used to work for Amazon. I was in the warehouse day in, day out, just kind of working away. And then it's funny, Jesse's my uncle, so it was over Christmas, and he's like, "What do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, well, I kind of, supervise people, make sure packages get where they're going, minimize human error, all sorts of things." And he looks at me and he goes, "Dude, you're screwed." And I was like, "What?" He's like, "Dude, you're screwed. Let me tell you about AI." So then that was kind of my entry into all this. So then I want to say I left that job like a couple of weeks after. And as I was leaving, they're rolling in all of their automation stuff. I'm talking systems that replace all the people. And I left, and Jesse's like, "Well, why don't you come learn some of the stuff we're doing?" So I would drive down, kind of learn AI, learn these basic tools, just kind of get my toes in the water a little bit. And then that kind of led to, working with Alan. Alan did all their media. So he did like the video editing, production, camera work, all that. So I kind of adapted that, and I, was like, I think I could find a place that needs something like this where I can just kind of insert my foot in and just, try and make that some sort of a career path. So I went to this small little organization that needed a lot of help. They needed a new website. They needed media. They had nothing. Their social presence was pretty non-existent. And I was like, "Hey, I'm learning this stuff. Let me help you guys, move this along." And I've been doing that. So now, I mean, day to day, I'm editing videos. I'm putting together content calendars. I mean, all sorts of media stuff, really.
And so had you had much experience with the sort of tools that it takes to do?
No, Alan taught me everything. So it was pretty much all the think stuff. It was just Alan's like, "Hey, we're going to do this today. I'm going to show you how we do it. And then you're just going to do it." So like Premiere was completely abstract to me. I had no concept of editing, sound, any of that. And Alan was just kind of like, "Well, we're going to figure it out." And then it kind of led to like, "All right, Jordan, now you're going to own this." So then eventually, like, we did like the behind the spaces for Think, where we'd set up a camera and it'd be either Jesse or Mike, and so that was like my project that I had to go own. Eventually be like, "Hey," Alan's like, "Hey, I'm not in the office. You're going to shoot the podcast for them." And then I was like, "Oh, okay, well, here we are." So it's kind of just been a slow transition, but I had no knowledge of cameras, video editing, any of that stuff.
Oh, to be young again and learn this stuff so easily. That's great. That's really, really cool. And so effectively you, by the sounds of it, you kind of did an internship with the Think team. Got a few skills. I
would say a few.
Yeah. By shadowing Alan and being thrown in the deep end every now and then went and took the initiative to go and get your own client, basically, doing that same sort of stuff. Ollie, you've got your hand up. You got a question?
Yeah, I had a question, Jordan. Nice to meet you, mate. Heard a lot about you. You look far better than your uncle, so it's hard to tell you're even related. So I wanted to ask you what it's like for you. So your uncle came to you and said, blah, 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 here's AI at Christmas, right? What is it like for you in your cohort, your friend group, your age bracket? Like, are you hearing a lot about AI from people your age, or are you kind of now one of the leaders in your group?
So it was pretty funny. I had an interaction at the gym last week with one of my friends where he's like, "So what are you doing now?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm starting a company," kind of talked about Clipper and like using AI. And he goes, "Oh, So you're building stuff to steal our jobs. And I was like, well, you can look at it that way, or you can look at it in the way that, you know, you can just build whatever you want. But I would say mostly my group, we know it's there, we know it's coming, but it's more of like the Sora thing, where it's kind of just like, we're going to use it for our amusement and not really think anything of it, where you can literally build your own world if you use these tools and you take the time to learn it. So I would say that's the biggest thing, is just, we know people might know it's there. They know it's coming. They know it's the future, but they don't understand they can build whatever they want with it. They think it's just some infinite creative machine that, you know, you can swipe on Sora for hours.
Super interesting. Very, very interesting. And it's a good insight into a generation underneath, maybe 2 generations underneath me, and where I'm at with all of this and a few others. Okay, cool. So tell us about what you're building. If you're able to give us a little bit of a demonstration and show us, we'd love to see it.
Yeah. We just pushed a new update out, so I should be able to show that. It's changed a lot, but we're pretty much building, in a way, we're building kind of a digital version of ourselves. And we've all heard that a lot, right? So pretty much I guess you could say I was kind of that for Alan. We're just kind of mimicking what he does, figuring out what he does, just kind of digging into his brain. And we're building an AI editor, right? So like you see all those clipping apps you see out there, where it takes your short, long form content, compresses it down to maybe 30 seconds, just key ideas. But we're taking it a step further in the way that we want to make anyone should be able to get paid to do that, right? There's a lot of people that just do it for fun, or they don't realize the ins and outs of it. And it's fairly simple to just, you know, create a channel, clip whatever you think is interesting, and then push that out. I mean, you really don't have to do any of the work. So we're building this platform where you'll be able to clip whatever you want. There's no whatever you want. Just clip whatever you want, push it out for the world to see, and you'll be able to get paid for it.
So I'm not a gamer, but I know that gaming is huge, and I've seen plenty of videos online of these long 2.5-hour videos of a guy playing a game, right? So if I wanted to build a gaming channel on YouTube and basically just give a whole bunch of highlights from a whole bunch of games out there, I don't know how copyright works in this scenario, but you could take those videos, clip them down, and provide a service to an audience of, here are the highlights from the games that were played last night, as an example.
Yeah, definitely. And there's already a huge market into this, right? So there is a lot of streamers that, you know, they'll stream for 2 hours, but there's like Discord groups, and there's different ways where these creators will just find somebody and they'll just pay them. They'll straight up pay them. Like, I know Joe Rogan talks about it a lot, is there's all sorts of, you know, Jerry Clipper, I think, is one that's on X or something. He's like, I don't know that guy. That dude just clips his stuff. And he's like, I'm okay with it. It's fine. So there's already these groups out here, but a lot of people just don't know that it's a real thing. And I think if you look at, did anyone see what Mr. Beast did recently with his Viro or whatever it was called?
No.
So he pretty much, it's a lot of what we're doing, where it's like it's like a company can set a bounty. So Mr. Beast is the first one on there, and he has like, all right, here's $3,000 per million views based on this one video. And people can download the app and they can go in and clip from that video. So it gets him the content, gets him the million views, whatever, 10 million views, but that person's also able to get that bounty. And that came out like last week, I think. And this is something we already kind of thought of. So there's a huge market for it, but it's just like, how can we get it in the hands of people?
Yeah. And importantly, how can you get it in the hands of people who don't have the current skills,
Yes.
with the current tools to be able to do it? Okay, cool. Great summation of what you're doing. Can you show us?
Yeah, let me set it up. Let's see.
While you do that, Ollie, can you just give us a quick insight as to, because Ollie's the one that clips these sorts of meetings and the content that we make. What's the sort of process that you would normally have to go through to clip down, say, an hour-long video into 3 30-second clips?
Yeah. So what I do every week is I take notes while the show's going on. So my current notes are Alex and the website, Jordan and Clippy and Jordan's peer group. So I'm already kind of reminding myself later the bits that I saw. If I haven't seen the event that I'm trying to clip out of, I have to watch the whole thing, right, from start to finish.
Yeah.
Then I run it through a piece of software I installed on my computer that can extract all the words so that I can add that as subtitles. But I also use that. I put that back into AI and say, you know, like beforehand, I had to go through manually. Now I can drop it into some AI and say, tell me the bits that might be interesting. But the way I've got it set up is nothing like what Clippy's doing. So I'm super excited because this is like a multi-hour process for me that if I can get running through Video Clipper and turn into something that might take me 1 hour instead of 6, that would make me very happy.
Amazing. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay,
So-
Jordan, over to you.
All right. So, I mean, our process before this was very similar, where it's painstaking, but we now have this tool that's pretty great. So this is kind of, if you guys have followed our journey at all, this is this is the very first page you're going to see when you open Clipper. And where now we have a timeline, right? So I just have a video I've had in here for a couple of days. You can go through here, see your timeline. Also on the side here, these are all this is your transcript, but you can jump to any part you want in this transcript. But so it's gonna look, it's very similar to Premiere, but here's where the magic happens. This is brand new. So Nick's been working crazy hard trying to get this up and running, but now we have a full-fledged video editor, and it's a lot right now, but I mean, this is where all the magic happens. This is where we can ask the AI whatever we want. So one thing I think a lot of people like to do is they like the content calendar. So I can say, hey, so I'm just gonna ask it, you know, can you make me a content calendar based on the key topics in this video? And then on the side, I think we can toggle this so you guys can see it better. But we have Nick got it down to 2 different models. They're gonna run through this transcript, and it's gonna think, okay, what do we think is be the best thing for social media? What do people need to know? And it's gonna come up with our full content calendar. It's gonna show you what platform you should put it on, how well it thinks it's gonna do, pretty much taking away. I mean, I think this process takes maybe 5 minutes of just loading rather than going through a whole transcript and trying to figure out what's the best pieces.
Very cool. So while that's running in the background, from start to finish, what are the steps that someone takes? Let's say they're opening Video Clipper for the first time, right? They've got a long form video and they want to be able to get half a dozen highlights out of it for whatever purposes. Do you come to the video editor first? Is this where you upload it? Do you create a project? What are the steps that you go through?
So when you first get in the dashboard page here, this is where you'll be able to upload your videos right here. We're going to be able to extract pretty much YouTube videos just through a simple URL, and that's going to be put in here. So at first, these are all the clips that have been created at one point. So at first, this time when we blank, you can go in here, you can toggle with your transcript, you can manual clip, start, stop. But then if you want to kind of get more, the weird thing about it too is if you do know what you're doing and you want to add a little bit of B-roll, or you want to add just your own little flavor to it, that's when the editor comes in place and you can add in whatever you would like.
Okay.
But if you don't want to do the video editor, you just want to simply upload your video, get the transcript, and ask the AI, find me clips. It'll do it all right here.
Okay, cool, very cool. All right, let's have a look at what it's come up with. Hopefully, it's.
Let's see.
The best thing about the iPhone Air.
Sorry.
Never do a live demo.
Right, that's right. Well, it's also funny too because this editor is like a day old,
Yeah, right.
so still working out some bugs.
That's cool. So is there a particular length of video that is either too long or not worth it putting through the system?
So Nick has stress tested it to the point where he got 2 hours of footage in, but he doesn't recommend it just because API usage and it's takes a little bit for it to go through the full transcript. But we're also moving away. We're using Cloudinary, which is a local thing that we've been using, but Nick's wants to move over to Railway. So that should free us up. Like, I think we can almost have a terabyte of storage.
Yeah,
and
wow.
Nick has put in things where after a week or so, it will ask if you want to clear out your old footage. So if you don't need it anymore, then you have that space. You're not limited, because right now we're limited on space. That's the biggest constraint we have. But for like a 15-minute video, I think I had a 15-minute video, and in 5 minutes I made like 50 clips just using this, where compared to if I was sitting down manually with 15 minutes, I'd probably have maybe 5, 6.
Yeah. So that's really interesting. So we've got a project in our agency at the moment where we're working for they're like an industry group within the building industry that are all about sustainable foundations for buildings. One of the key things that they need is an efficient way to create, in particular, video content for their social media presence. They're trying to build their presence and build their members. They've got very long interviews with the founders of and some business owners, very long pieces of content with some politicians who are pushing for change in the industry and all this sort of stuff. And we've been sitting there. They've asked us to do their social media as well, and I'm like, well, we're not really what we do, but that's okay. We'll find a tool to be able to try and do it. And this is exactly the sort of tool that we would need to do so. How intuitive is the AI in recognizing if we say, upload an interview and we say, can you find me every time the interviewee talks about a concrete slab, as an example? Will it pick up every single time? Is it really intuitive in terms of being able to identify specific topics and specific keywords within the transcript?
It's definitely so. As of this version, with the new AI models we put in, I haven't gotten too much time to dive into that. But the last model we had, I mean, we would upload clips and be like, hey, find the funniest moment, and it would pick out the same moment every single time.
Wow.
Every single time.
Right. Interesting.
So we want to make sure, because one thing me and Alan are really keen on is making sure the content is, the clips they're good. It should have a point. There should be a story behind it. It shouldn't just be some random, doesn't make sense to anyone. So we really want to dial in the AI aspect of it. We want to get to the point where, yes, if you say, hey, at this timestamp, this minute, they talked about this, can you find a clip around that? So that's something we're working on, and Nick has been going absolutely crazy. But look at that. We got some results. So right here, I mean, it's a lot, but so it's going to pretty much give you an introduction of what the video is. It's going to tell you what's discussed about. It's going to give you a hook. And this is new. This is like, when I was first testing this, I texted Nick and I was like, Nick, this looks so much better. The scores and the breakdowns of it. I mean, if you have no idea what goes viral on social media pages or how to get the algorithm to pick something up, I think this is very helpful for people, and showing scores behind it, I think, really helps with that. And it's also going to tell you where you should put this, because there is difference between a TikTok or an Instagram or whatever social media page you're using. It's going to have a different algorithm, different things are going to do well.
That's really cool. I'd love to deep dive on that, but we'll come back to that. Keep going.
Yeah. And then you can also jump to clips, and the create clip and jump clip, we're still working out. It's gonna, if I do this, it won't show up in the editor right away, but it'll show up in the dashboard right away. So we'll do that, but I'll keep going through some of these features here. It also tell you, okay, well, let's talk about the camera improvements, breaks down the scores again, TikTok, durability, battery life. So these are kind of the clips that already suggest for you. So in the span of what? Minus the loading, we have 5 clips. I didn't have to go through the transcript. I didn't have to, watch the video at 2x speed or whatever I need to do. I already have 5 clips that I can post and test.
Incredible.
And then it's also going to do this other aspect where it's going to break down more of it, right? It's going to give you a hook. It's going to tell you platform. So this one's different. So we got LinkedIn. And then it's going to tell you, oh, you should add professional captions. Kind of breaking down the clips more. So let's see.
So talk to me a little bit about, Jordan, while you're doing that. How does it come up with the score? Right? How does it know that that's a better piece for LinkedIn than TikTok? And how does it know that the virality score of that particular piece for TikTok is an 85% match?
Yeah. So TikTok, you have maybe 3 seconds to capture your viewer, right? You really need something that's going to draw them in. So if it's something, let's look at what the hook it says here. Here we go. So this is what it says. So if you're looking for the new iPhone, right, and you're trying to figure out what's good, if you're scrolling across a video and you hear the cameras are the most pro thing about the pro iPhone every year, you're going to stop, because maybe you're like, well, do I need the new pro iPhone, or do I just need the basic model? But if you care about the camera and you hear the first 3 seconds of this video say, well, the camera's the pro part about the phone, then you're gonna be like, oh, okay, well, let me look into that.
Yeah.
And then
very cool.
So it's just, and I know it's different because I know Instagram, it does better when like the first slide is like kind of like a thumbnail that shows up in the feed, or TikTok, you don't have that. So TikTok's very based on the hook. What can we do in 3 seconds to get somebody in?
Very cool. So talk to me a little bit about, sorry, Michelle, did you?
No, I was just going to say, look, obviously as a business owner, and particularly in the hospitality industry, short form video content is constantly hailed as the best way to cut through to your audience. Yeah. It's also, as a business owner, incredibly intimidating, and up until this point, quite prohibitively expensive. We constantly get approached, but you're looking at minimum budget of, say, 5,000, and then we try and create some short form content ourselves. But to be perfectly honest with you, most of the time, it's not good enough to be able to upload and put on social media. So for me, I mean, this is just like mind blowing. It really is. I mean, it's just such an incredible way. And I have colleagues who I know are spending 5,000 to 10,000 a month with agencies to produce this kind of content for them. So massive game changer. It's incredibly exciting.
Yeah, it's really cool. Whilst you're running this one, Jordan, talk to me a little bit about your business model and how you're going to be monetizing and deploying this.
Yeah. So the main thing here that we love about it is anybody can be able to do it. You don't need to know Premiere. You don't need to know anything about social media. You don't need to know anything about that. But that you can just, come into our app and you can come and you can just create what you want to create. The other thing is we want people to get paid for it, right? So as I'm going to see this clip here, we want people to get paid for it. So we want to introduce some sort of token system where pretty much a company could come to us and be like, hey, we have X amount of money for your community, and we want 5 to 6 clips about this product or about this video we just did. And we would get the footage, and it's pretty much just like, hey, best man win. If your clip is better than that, if they like your clip more than that, you get the bounty. So just kind of, in a way, it's, we're trying to give businesses that maybe can't even afford a full media team, whether they can afford setting up a camera and shooting, and they could do that part of it, but not having to worry about finding someone who knows the ins and out of video or social media, and they can just rely pretty much on a community of editors to, empower their content.
Very cool. Very cool. All right, show us what it's come up with.
All right, so we have 7 clips here. So all these green right here, it's gonna give you a title too, which is really cool, because a lot of people, I mean, it's something you don't really think about, but let's say this didn't give you a title. Let's say it just made you the clips, and now you're sitting here like ready to post, but you don't know what to call it. So this comes up your whole thing. So we have iPhone sales shocker, 90% buy this model, iPhone camera secret, the moment they'll want to share with their friends, and the iPhone battery's got a massive upgrade. So we can jump to these, and then we can just watch what the clip is.
Then great, every single other phone in the lineup gets even thicker with bigger batteries. So the 17 Pro has a 20% bigger battery than last year. And the Pro Max actually cracks the 5,000 milliamp hour mark for the first time ever, which is great in iPhone land. And also 40-watt
Were you guys able to hear that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Sorry.
charging now. So that's half battery in 20 minutes. To Apple, that's a big deal. Like, we welcome a 20% year-over-year improvement. Now in Android land, obviously it kind of looks like nothing. Like, it's nowhere near the Ultra phones with 6,000 milliamp hour silicon carbon batteries and 100-watt charging and all that. But for a phone that ships like in the volume that the iPhone does, very happy to see that sort of improvement when last year's phone already had really good battery. The iPhone is also very efficient, so I am getting a nice 5+ hours of screen on time every day on not even the bigger phone, and it's lasting all day with 30+% left.
So that's one clip
cool.
that you could have ready to post.
That's really cool. So I'm conscious of time. Jordan, I haven't had the chance to follow you guys and the journey so far, but I'm super impressed with this. Between yourself and Alan and Nick, I think you've absolutely nailed a need in the market. It's such a great use case of AI's capabilities, not just to rewrite an email or make, tell me what I can make for dinner with what's in my fridge, which is what a huge amount of people do with it. So this is fantastic. Congratulations. I'll throw it to the floor to anyone who wants to ask any questions before we move to Ed. And the tumbleweed. When access. Yeah, when can we play with this? When can we use it?
So Nick, this version that we have right now, we need to really go in, and there's some bugs that we really need to get fixed, because the video editor part of it, like I said, this video editor is like it's a week old. Nick's been working his butt off getting something ready. So once me and Alan push the thing to the limits, and we can, make sure people are able to use this without, running into a bunch of errors, we'll be able to push it out for people to use. And it's probably just gonna be just a clipper at the first part, where we're probably not gonna have everything else set up yet. But we also want to see, our plan is we want to kind of create our own channel where anybody can upload to it with the clips they want. So like we can do a YouTube channel where it's called a Clipper Clips or whatever. And the community can be like, hey, I have a clip about this cool podcast and he had really good insight on this. Here's my 30-second clip. And we could just put it on the YouTube. That way we just have this kind of catalog of stuff to use. And that's what I would love to see the community really get their hands on this and see what they can do with it.
Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Thank you so much, Jordan. Really appreciate you coming on and showing everyone what you're building. It's great to see. And what a great use case.
Awesome.
There's a ton of people I already know that, including us, that would be very, very keen to take the product on. So well done. Ollie, I'll throw to you to introduce Ed and get we're going to get an update from Ed on what he's building. We had him on a couple of weeks ago showing very, very cool stuff. But Ollie, do you want to give Ed a little intro?
Yeah, I don't know who Ed is, but I know who Redknot is.
Sorry.
Welcome, Ed. Lovely to have you again. I saw you do a quick present yesterday, and I thought we need to see more of what you've been up to. You're a prolific builder, so we're happy to have you on again, bro.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Good to be here, and I hope I get to do many more of these. This is well, speaking of bounties, this is just, my preparation for my goal for the next 6 months, which is just to beat Nick to one bounty once the bounties start coming out for Think OS. So I feel like that's a pretty good goal, because in the meantime, it means I get to build a bunch of cool stuff and think about, what a business could look like for any single one of these things. So yeah, let me share my screen, and I will share under my Ed account. So, no worries. You're not doxing me here. Can you all see that? Cool. So I can show 3 different things. Maybe I'll start here. I demoed this a couple weeks ago already, uploading pitch decks and the social graph and all of that. I'll just share one thing that I've worked on a little bit, which I guess I can show that. I've seeded this database now with 70 real Web3 VC firms, with their partners, with their portfolio companies. And so now we have some real data to work with. And due to feeding it with so much information, now we can actually use this specific VC preparation function. So there's a general just chat with an AI about your idea, but then there's VC specific preparation. So this is sort of thinking about what would this look like when it's really doing what we want it to do, which is acting like a matchmaking tool and pairing you up with the best possible partner for funding, or if you're on the VC side, getting you the best possible deal flow and the best founders to be your partners. So part of that would be actually capturing something, at least hopefully something useful about a VC. So if you don't know Redbeard Ventures, they invested in Sandbox and some other metaverses. So let's say I'm working on a project that will standardize metaverse avatar specs to make them interoperable and composable across metaverses. Well, if we ask that to Redbeard Ventures, then now that I've added a lot more context to each of these VC firms, and it's not just placeholder stuff, and hopefully we can get a nice answer here that's going to be insightful, as we hope all of the VC responses would be, but will also come from a specific point of view. So Redbeard Center.
Sorry, Ed, can I just jump in for a second? So this is a conversation, almost like a role play. Where the AI is pretending, in inverted commas, to be someone from Redbeard Ventures before you go in and actually do the pitch, so that you can help prep for the sort of things that they're going to ask you and the sort of responses.
Yeah. Yep.
Awesome.
And so for now, this is, this has some basic information about who they are, and you can see that reflected in the answer. It knows some of the similar stuff that they've invested in. It knows the sort of thesis of the size and some basic facts about the VC. I would say a V2 of this would look like pulling in all of Drew Austin's crypto Twitter activity, because he's a pretty prolific on X and in other public spaces. So you could pull a bunch of his public comments and go to a second level of trying to impersonate him. Or if someday you actually get Drew Austin to become a user, partner, whatever, then maybe you can go behind the scenes, and maybe he's willing to really let you in on how he thinks about investments. And then, you can get, that's kind of the third level, I feel like, of where you could do this. And I think you might be able to convince VCs to do that if they see the value proposition, which is, on the other side, we're trying to get founders to trust us to say, and founders meaning anybody in the Think community, I want to be able to have this and a lot more as support for thinking about your business, thinking about your pitch, thinking about fundraising, bringing into, thinking through everything you need to think through to go through the Thinkubator, or go through, the smaller process that I think many of us will go through. That's not the full Thinkubator, but it is being in this community, getting the benefits of this community, and thinking through, hey, now I'm learning to build stuff. I'm practicing building stuff. How do I stress test that idea to see if there is a business here, and if there is, what does that business look like, and who would the best partners be for that.
So cool, man. So cool. So this is obviously spat out a bunch of information, obviously about who they've backed, and then some basic kind of questions. I said this last time, having been on the other side of this, the hardest part is vetting the 100 decks you get a day, right? Being able to, from a VC perspective, almost have a digital twin doing that vetting, not just by reading a deck, but interacting directly with the founder before I then have to spend time, is such a hugely powerful tool, right? Because there are so many things that slip through the cracks. You know, I know guys that passed on Canva at a $2 million valuation, right? Because they saw it, they went, oh, I don't really understand it, move on, right? Where if they just scratched a little deeper and had the time and capability to scratch a little deeper, they would have seen what really was there beneath the surface. And so whilst I get this is such a great tool to prepare for a pitch, the flip side of this is a tool for VCs to be able to say, cool, I've got 100 decks here. I'm going to run them through an engine. Tell me which ones fit my mandate first and foremost, right? Because I've got a specific mandate that says I have to only write checks between this and this. It has to be in this industry, or it has to be sustainable, blah, 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 right? Now I'm down to 20. Excellent. Arrange a virtual chat with my digital twin to do a deep dive. And then I can assess whether I'm going to take all 20 meetings or just 2, right? That is something that I think every VC would pay for as a tool.
Yeah, as long as we can capture, get a high quality digital twin on both sides, so that we're really can get good results out of that. And some of that we're just not going to know until we actually get into it. For me, what I'm thinking right now is that the key will probably be, I think, just letting this be something that the founders can download on their computer, so that they can practice their pitch and take advantage of this tool 100% privately. So, and if you just want to take it and improve your pitch, great. But at some point, we're going to say, it's going to say, hey, you have done the work now. You've been really honest. You've opened up. You've done a great job here of capturing the project and capturing who you are and how you think. If you want to, now you could opt in to the matching service, and then we'll send that our way, and we'll let you know what your best bet is for matching up with a VC. So I feel like letting people use it in a way where they don't feel nervous about giving up their IP, giving up their secret sauce, whatever that might be. And then afterwards say, at any point you can opt in, and then we will match you with VC. If it's possible, we're going to find the right partner for you. I think maybe we get, and then again, that's something I would love to be able to provide to this community. So I mentioned it briefly in Builders Club, but I did a belief session with Jesse on Friday. Awesome. It was everything that everybody said it would be. It was really, amazing 2-hour session. And we're just, thinking about ways where this could help to accelerate everything else that's going on in the Think universe. So very excited about this one. And I'll have more on this soon. Not a whole lot of features to show today, but at least this, I think, gets across the idea and how I'm thinking about it right now.
My mind is going ballistic with the possibilities of just this tool itself, right? I don't know if you've ever been in sales before, Ed, but I've run sales teams, and the hardest thing to get a sales team to do is practice their sales pitch, right? So which is effectively what a pitch is to a VC, right? It's a sales pitch.
100%.
And so being able to have a tool to give to my sales team who sell flugel binders, right? Pick your 5 prospective clients. The system knows those clients, understands those clients from all publicly available information, pretend to be the GM of that company. Now I'm going to pitch, right? My Flugelbinder pitch. That as a tool, because there's nothing worse than, and anyone who's ever been in sales will know this, in a sales meeting, being put up against your sales manager to run a, what do they call it? Help me out, Ollie. What's it called? When you're going toe to toe with it, it's like a, oh, this is going to do my head in. Just totally
I'll
lost
cut
my.
this bit out of the public video.
Yeah, thanks. Role play. Sorry. So when you're in a sales meeting with 20 other sales guys, and your sales manager says, "Come up here, we're going to role play."
Sell me this pin.
The blood just runs out of you, right? There's nothing worse than having to do that publicly. To be able to role play your sales pitch privately and directly with a tool like this, you can, in the back end, bake in a whole lot of different elements that you want to teach them and have them consistently develop their capability as a salesperson. So my mind's going bonkers with the other applications of this kind of tool, which is really cool. I totally and utterly interrupted you, so I apologize.
No, it's great. This is what we're here for, to talk about the potential applications. And I think, it kind of speaks to a good point, like your competition isn't necessarily, the world's greatest incubator, and the support they can give there. Your competition is a mirror, right? Where
Absolutely.
Someone would otherwise be practicing their pitch by themselves. So yeah, so I think that's pretty cool. Let me show you all a couple other things again pretty quickly. Get ready for the glare, because this does not have a working dark mode yet. See. Yeah, but we'll get there. I just wanted to show this real quick.
Ollie's kryptonite is like
So this is one of the first thing that I built for myself. I think I talked about it before. I work in impact investing in my day job. This has been how I start my day, going back since I started building things in July. And you can just see for any given day, you can pull up, here's the daily brief, just an AI summary of what's going on in the industry, the key developments of what's going on in the industry, little market implications, investment outlook, and then sources to all the articles if I want to dig in deeper. This right here, again, first thing I made, I can basically charge most of the time that I've spent learning and building things back to, I've saved that time back with this.
Amazing. That's so cool.
Just a 100% curated personal dashboard for exactly what I need to do my job better and make sure that I feel like I'm staying on top of things in my industry.
I'd love to maybe offline just understand the mechanics behind how you've built that, because it's something I desperately need across a couple of different things.
I mean, and we should connect offline, but honestly, it hits RSS feeds. It pulls articles for the day from a bunch of relevant sources that I also had an LLM outline for me. Yeah, and then it feeds them. It makes a database. It feeds it through AI to an LLM to write a summary. You can do all this stuff with the tools that we learn in Agent 101 and especially in Nick's classes.
Love it. Unreal. Ed, thanks so much, mate. What a great update, and really, really cool to see. In particular, the VC chat, that role-playing piece is really cool. Oh, we're going to do a meal plan now? I like it.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about it, but I didn't have this working yesterday, so I just want to show that it's
this is cool.
Yesterday and today, we've got the smart meal plan working on this one, and I've really come to understand why Nick is the way he is. Having like 3 or 4 things working in parallel is by far the most efficient way to work with these tools. And then you can check in with them, and then you can turn your attention to anything that might need a deep dive or thinking about planning something out or whatever it might be. But yeah, this is the Smart Kitchen app. I talked about this yesterday in Builders Club. Folks can go watch it there. But let's just see if we can get this smart meal planning to pop. But really, I use this tonight, by the way, because I have the URL extractor. So boom, there you go. 9 different meals to cover you for the 3 days. Every meal is going to have ingredients and instructions laid out for you.
Wow.
and then you can easily move them around. They flip-flop with each other, move them to another thing. You can look at the recipe, and then you can change. If you want to have Greek salad, you can do that instead.
What are you building all of this in, Ed?
Like what tools am I using?
Yeah, I know you cover this in Builders Club, but I can't make Builders Club, unfortunately.
Yeah, so I on Nick's recommendation, I picked up the Droid CLI, which is like Cloud Code. I think Cloud Code's pretty similar. You can also save the recipe over, so it shows up over here. But yeah, I've been using that. I've gotten my X algorithm to now reflect a lot of AI stuff and a lot of a lot of bit coding stuff. So that's been really helpful because I can, picking up useful tips like, hey, Claude is really good at UI, but Codex looks like it's actually the one that's making the fewest errors. It takes like 5 times longer, but it usually gets things right on the first try or debugs things that something else missed. Having a CLI where you're quickly switching back and forth between models, I think, is the most important thing right now, because usually one will pick up what another one misses. But anyway, I couldn't do any of this 3 months ago. 3 months ago, I couldn't do any of this. And between Nick's classes and Alex's classes, I'm building multiple things in parallel, and it's coming together.
Unreal. What a great advertorial for reinventing yourself. And so excited to see all the different things. Thank you again for making the time. Thanks, Jordan, for showing us the video clipper progress as well. Very excited for that. Michelle, Ollie, is there anything you want to throw in today? I know we've just hit our time limit, but Michelle, any things that have come up on your plate in the last week in the hospitality industry that have sparked your interest?
Yeah, look, I think what I'd like to say is, I think as a small business owner, I think AI is quickly moving from a sort of nice to have to a must have in order to not be left behind. I think in order for us to compete with the bigger players and to be able to cut our costs and future-proof ourselves. Sorry, my Do Not Disturb has expired. It's imperative that we move forward. I think what I find so exciting about these weekly meetings is what the builders are bringing forward and how I can see all these components and how they would fit into my own business. And I just love that this broader scope of tools that we can offer businesses are slowly coming together, rather than, these individual. And look, I was speaking to Alex before we started. I did a bit of a dive this week to see how many Australian companies are offering AI solutions. And there's a surprising amount, but again, they're only offering 1 or 2 individual solutions. So I think, this idea of, providing what enterprises are able to implement at the moment with their larger teams, and distilling that down to a small business, and really us now having access to all these individual tools so we can build a full package rather than a piecemeal solution, I think is so exciting. And to have it coming from community members, I think is so inspirational as well. So absolutely.
Completely agree. Ollie?
Yeah, I just wanted to say thanks to everyone for coming along today. What I've done is I've actually set everything up. I've just made a post in the Think Elysium channel. We've set everything up now to utilize the open page platform for collecting badges. I know Nick is going to love this because he loves collecting badges. But if you don't know what open page is, it's a community building platform that is built by people on the Ape chain. And you can now go in and find in the home page, once you've logged in and created your account, you can find our new community, which is the Elysium community, and specifically start collecting the badges for coming along to these episodes or for being a supporter. So there's the OG badge, which you can get, which is for a limited time until the end of November. I think that's up for. And then for coming along today, you can collect today's badge as well. What that allows us to do is we can then provide it's almost like a proof of attendance But what it allows us to do is in the future, we'll be able to say, look, find me the people who were there supporting us from the beginning. Find us those who attended the most number of these Let's Build Business episodes. We could have bounties for that. We could have badges that you collect for attending a certain number. But what we want to do is just start involving the community and giving you guys a way of proving your loyalty and your passion for what we're doing here, because this is an amazing show, a great example of how this is working. I'll post the OG badge code. So you have to put a code in once you've set up your account. Just follow the instructions in the post in the Elysium channel, and I'll post the 2 codes for these first 2 badges. But from now on, during these weekly shows, we'll give out a code that you'll be able to put in and just prove that you were here and part of the conversation. So thanks very much.
I hope I can work it out being a boomer. Thank you very much, Ollie, for your hard work in doing all of that. Great to have everyone here again. Thank you. I think that's a wrap.
It is fantastic work.
Excellent.
Thank you.
All right.
Special shout
Thank
out.
you, guys.
And then Red Knot, thank you so much. And see you all next week.
Sounds good.